Oh, goody.
Alright, what's going on everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. So today I kind of wanted to go over some of the best buys for using your free Series 3 card monthly purchase. If you don't already know, they changed the system in the most recent patch, so now you can no longer buy Series 3 cards directly from the token shop. They instead have their own store section where you will be able to redeem one free one a month. Now, since you can only pick one, this ends up being a rather important choice usually, especially for players who are early on in Pool 3, or maybe players who haven't had the best luck opening the cards they're hoping to acquire. So today we're going to go over what I think are the best picks or cards you want to focus on early from the token shop, as well as other cards that can go with those cards to complement them. Before we get into it though, I do want to mention that a new series drop will be with us shortly. This is dropping on the 18th, and this is the first time we're seeing cards that initially launched in Series 5 make their way down to Series 3. This includes Shuri, Black Panther, Bast, Valkyrie, and Super Skrull. So while none of these will be on our list for today, I do want to give some honorable mentions here. Shuri, obviously one of the best decks in the game right now, though she is slated for some kind of nerf upon the patch where she's dropping down, so kind of wait and see on that one, but I expect she'll still be good. And Bast and Valkyrie have been increasingly powerful and prominent forces in the metagame as of recently, so these are definitely three cards that should also be worth your consideration once they drop down to Pool 3. Starting out, we're going to be talking about Sarah here, as Sarah has pretty much always been a priority Series 3 buy ever since the release of the game. She just enables a very powerful control archetype. And the really nice thing about Sarah is you often don't need many or really any other Pool 3 cards in order for her to be at least decently effective. Now, she will get better with some other additions we'll talk about, but why is Sarah such a kind of highly rated card here? And it's because she has a very powerful effect. Reducing all the cards you play by one is super duper strong, and allows you to be much more reactive, which is what you want to be doing with a control-focused deck. And generally, she has an answer for most of the threats going around, so it's a very versatile deck in that it doesn't really have any particular deck that it really hates seeing, except maybe Galactus. And even then, if you see a whole lot of Galactus, it is possible you can tech in some cards like Polaris or Arrow to help deal with that. Now, what other cards do you want to be going after if you already have Sarah? I think the biggest one here by far is going to be Mysterio. Mysterio is just a really, really powerful card for the archetype. Boosts the fact that Nova can make our board bigger with Killmonger. It boosts the recently released Hitmonkey, who is really good in the Sarah shells. And it also has very good synergy with kind of our best 3-drop in Bishop. So if you're looking for another Pool 3 card to go after and you already have Sarah but you want to improve it, I think Mysterio is probably the most important one. And then the next card I would say is probably Zabu. I know that's Pool 4 but not Pool 3, but he should be moving to Pool 3 I think in a month or two. But he's one you actually do have a little bit more agency over because you can spend tokens on him. So if you're really enjoying the Sarah style decks, Zabu is the other recommendation that you should probably go after. Next card we're going to talk about here is Doom. Doom has risen in play a lot recently, has been a very powerful card in the meta, and I think is really one of the best 6-cost cards that you can use as kind of a endgame finisher that we have access to right now. The nice thing about Doom is he slots into a wide variety of different decks, so you don't necessarily have to focus on building your whole deck around him. You can maybe have something like Storm to close a lane, or you can just be a generic pile of good cards and have Doom as the top end, and generally it's pretty good. He sees play in the good cards deck, he sees play in the ramp deck, he sees play in the Dino deck, he really does see play in quite a lot of archetypes. And it's just really nice to have as a 6-drop that can kind of go wide and play into otherwise locked down locations. In terms of cards you might want to be focusing on, if you already have Doom, I would say Electro and Wave definitely fall into that slot, both very powerful ramp cards, and the ramp deck is probably the best pool 3 only deck, so you might want to focus on getting those ones first, as they're very, very good with Doom. Next card we have here is SheHulk. So SheHulk was initially a Series 4 that dropped to Series 3 a while ago, and she, much like Doom, sees play in a lot of different decks. She's just a very powerful way to put a lot of stats onto board, and has good synergy with the very popular, although recently nerfed, Sunspot. So I really like SheHulk quite a lot. She sees play in the Good Stuff stack, she sees play in some of the Thanos builds, she sees play in most of the decks that are running Wave, because there's a very powerful interaction with her there. It's just a generally good card, even though she was nerfed by 1 power a little while ago. Still seeing a ton of play, and just a very versatile big thing. You can cheat into play before the normal cost of her card. In terms of cards you want to be getting after you've gotten SheHulk, I do think Wave is probably a top priority, as that's the one that is really good at limiting what your opponent can do, while enabling you to play a big SheHulk and another card to close out the game. Shuri will also be in Pool 3 very shortly here, and Shuri is very good with SheHulk as well. That might change, but I honestly don't expect it to, so she will be a very good addition once she drops to Series 3 in a few days. The next card I would definitely consider prioritizing is one that has good synergy with some of the other ones we've mentioned, and that is Wave. Wave is a really, really powerful ramp card that sees play in a wide variety of decks, going from things like Galactus, to Ramp, to Deathwave, to kind of good cards, .deck. She's just a very, very powerful tool, mainly for actually limiting what the opponent can play, not only just allowing you to cheat stuff out, but just being really good at limiting what the opponent can play going into the final turn. This is especially powerful if decks are popular that are trying to play a lot of cards on the final turn, like the Bounce deck or Sarah Control. In terms of cards you probably want to go after with Wave, I think Electro is obviously a good choice if you want to go the ramp direction. Death and SheHulk are also very good choices, as is Arrow, who is still very, very powerful if you're limiting the opponent to only playing 1 card a turn. The last card we're going to talk about here is Patriot. So Patriot has been a pretty consistently good card since the release of the game. And the nice thing about the Patriot deck is it is on the more budget-friendly side for the most part. Generally, you really only need 1 or 2 more good Series 3 cards aside from Patriot himself, and the rest of the deck is pretty budget-friendly in the Series 1 or Series 2 section, because it's all no-text cards. So Patriot, the things you want to be going for with Patriot, mainly Mystique as the big one to copy your Patriot effect. And then you also want Ultron, which allows you to go wide and be able to get a bunch of textless drones into play. But Patriot on his own can still work without these cards. He won't be quite as effective, but if you get Patriot first and then want to slowly start building towards a more refined version, he's definitely the one you want to be going for first. So there we have it. Those are the top 5 cards I'd recommend working towards in your Series 3 collection. Using that free card a month on. I think these are definitely all very solid directions to go. It really comes down to kind of personal preference, which styles of play you end up enjoying in terms of which you should be prioritizing first. But I'm curious to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below which cards you kind of prioritized going into Series 3 and how that experience went for you. But that is going to wrap it up for this video. If you enjoyed it, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.